day one of Spartan Games. The air's really cold, there's just this energy and excitement and electricity, you know, about everything.
It's fantastic. Fantastic to get all the trees in the back of your shot.
And the athletes, when they arrived, I think there were a lot of nerves. There was a lot of sort of talk with each other, and I think one of the biggest things that I noticed is that there was just this sense of expectation, anticipation maybe, because we've done one Spartan Games before. And so kind of like Spartan Games is back.
What's up, y'all? Good morning.
This week is definitely going to be a very big growth opportunity for me. You know, especially getting out of my comfort zone, doing things that I've never done before.
It's awesome. I think it's a pretty cool roster of athletes that we have here. Yeah, it's just like coming back to summer camp the next year, and you see like what has changed for everybody and what's still the same, and everyone's pretty psyched to be here.
Welcome to day one of Spartan Games, presented by Air Force Special Warfare.
Oh yeah, dude.
Today, the DEKA Heavy, and then in the afternoon, no guts, no glory, past. 1 on DEKA. If you fail one of the 10 stations, it is a 5-minute time penalty that will be applied to your overall time. No guts, no glory. There are 6 exercises. If you are unable to complete any of the 6 exercises to the minimum standard that was listed in the rules, i.e. the time hacks for the run or the 500-meter swim or the number of pull-ups, so on, you'll get a 0 for the entire test.
You say you failed the entire test, all 6?
You'll get a 0 for all 6.
Oh.
If you fail, you fail. Pass, fail, right?
That's what you would have experienced, correct?
It
Could you just tell us quickly just what you experienced there?
So when we give the pass to candidates, you have to do all 6 components, and if at any point any of the candidates will fail one of those components, their test isn't done. They end up completing the test, but they do not pass.
Right.
I was just wondering if someone fails the first, like say they fail the first whatever, then they just don't have to do any of the rest of the past test then, because they're fails to
Complete the rest of the test.
still have to complete it. Okay.
And the test is never over until the test is over, right?
Any more questions on the morning's competition?
Go to the bathroom.
You gotta go, just go to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Wrong bathroom.
Super stoked. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, see how it goes? I just want to get started.
You go ahead.
I'm very excited. This will be a fun event.
Thank y'all. So DEKA is our latest brand from Spartan. We've had over 100 gyms bolt us on as an affiliate. Brick and mortar gyms all over the country. We put on 250 races inside their gyms. We created DEKA for all levels of fitness. DEKA Heavy is not for all levels of fitness. DEKA Heavy is for the 1%ers. It is for you, the 16 cyborgs that we have here today.
Yancey and team developed a brutal DEKA Heavy this year. I think it was apparent from last year that in order to really challenge these athletes, it had to be just a bit more intense, more insane. The 10 zones this year are a 100-meter weighted sprint right into 20 weighted burpees in zone 2.
Zone 3 is a 50-metre sled push at 190 pounds for the men, 160 pounds for the women. Zone 4 is a 50-metre farmer's carry at 250 pounds for men, 170 pounds for women. Zone 5, the ski erg, 500-metre distance. Athletes remove their weighted vests here before hitting Zone 6, which are 12 pull-ups for men and 8 pull-ups for women. Zone 7 is a 500-metre row, which leads into the deadlift on Zone 8. It's 10 reps at 225 pounds for men and 165 pounds for women. Zone 9 is a 25-calorie bike, and the final zone is the Xerxes squats with the Titan Hoosa cross at 110 pounds for men and 77 pounds for the women. Athletes must do 4 rounds of 5 squats into a 10-metre carry.
I'm excited to get out and try it. Some of these things are outside of what I normally do or what I'm used to doing. But yeah, I did pretty well in the DEKA Fit last year and DEKA Heavy, and I think looking to get through it all and give a good performance.
I have no idea how I'm going to do. I am the lightest person here. I have the least weight, so all of these weights are going to be a little lighter than everybody else. But honestly, it's long enough to where there's going to be a little bit of engine involved, so I'm happy about that.
Everything was fine, the weather was good, and then as DEKA began, the cold rolled in, the fog started sleeting. It was almost like we orchestrated it. And, you know, it added this kind of level of brutality to an already brutal event. And in addition to that, we had the sled. And so a combination of the weather and the weight of the sled and the surface that they were pushing on, man, this was a super tough event.
One, 2, 3, 4.
Whatever you got, let's empty it. Come on.
I can't feel my fingers. They hurt, actually. Well, I had no idea really what to expect. I thought that the first event, that DEKA Heavy, would be a lot less aerobic. I think it was just kind of like a super breathe heavy, get used to the elevation kind of workout. So it took me by surprise. It was brutal.
We try and be prepared for everything, but no one could have expected the crazy weather we had. Because of the weather, the sled push was just impossible. We had to make a decision basically to lower the weights on the sled to allow the athletes to compete at the level we originally set out for.
Well done.
That was sick.
Well done. What was?
I wish I could have done the sled, but I.
Tell me about your. Tell me about your strategy with the sled. I mean, was that a spur of the moment thing, or
No, that was. I just saw Meg do it, and then it shattered her for the rest of the race, and took her like 4.5 minutes, and I was like, it's gonna take me at least 5. The penalty's 5, and I mean my strength is my cardio, so save it for that, and I'm glad I did.
I don't think we can argue with the fact that it was a smart move. It was a strategic move, and being a good athlete is more than just being, having excellent fitness and excellent technique. It's about being smart. And on this particular day, at this particular time, Lindsay Webster was exceptionally smart.
It's the strategy. It's like, if you had 10 pennies, which jar are you gonna put them in? Like, you have to be really smart since there's 9 workouts. So it was just, I think about it, I was like, there's some moments.
Maybe I'll get more strategic as the week goes on, but especially for the first event, I was just like, I just want to throw myself at it, and I want to see how I do with how it's designed. The sled push was just super, I just kept getting stuck. And that took a lot out of me. Like, definitely exhausted me. So when I got to the ski erg and then the row and then all the other cardiovascular implements, I think my heart rate was just too high and it didn't come down. But at the same time, given how difficult that sled push was, like, I'm pretty happy with it. Like, I got it done.
Nice. Use the weight best to your advantage. Walk. Do the 180 down there. A lot of people never drop it, so you can do it too.
You got it, Ariel.
With that vest off, hit those points. Come on now.
3,
Ariel Miller, military background. And like Lane, I think it will be interesting to see how she can draw upon her experience as a warrior and somebody that works in a military environment, and how she adapts those skills over to Spartan Games.
Almost there, Ariel.
Come on, Ariel!
Got it.
Come on! Woo! Oh my God. You fucking crushed it.
Oh my God, you too, dude. That grass is out to get me.
Oh my God.
have a 5th gear after the sled push, but I knew if I could just stay consistent, that would probably pay off. So hopefully that time was a top time. I need a win. I need an event win.
So one of the girls held it.
Yeah!
That's what I started.
That was her.
That's
you?
Yeah, so I started doing it at the end.
And it was good.
Yeah.
But what's been interesting is watching the guys who are going second after the man, watching the ladies' strategy and hearing how they're talking. So I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to strategize this, but it's going to be interesting.
Hunter's
gonna take the whole
just
thing.
crushed it. Yeah, he just crushed it.
This is his thing right here.
My back. Oh. Oh. That was tight. Way more breathy than I thought it was gonna be. That sled kind of spiked me up pretty good. And then I was just kind of fighting the whole time.
Just before Spartan Games, VJ Jones had beaten Ryan Atkins to take the US National Series title. This was a huge thing, and Ryan Atkins he's very good at not showing emotion, but the fact that these two were then going head to head in DEKA, it was eating away at him. You could see it, he's thinking about this, and you could see it in his face.
First event, I was expecting like a Spartan cross thing. I know last season we got to do 2 Spartan cross events. I was hoping for something similar, but we went right into the DEKA Heavy, something that I knew wasn't going to be really in my wheelhouse. Nice. So I got paired up with Atkins, the guy that I've been battling with all season, and we got to do it again, but in a completely different format from what we usually do.
Ryan Atkins is a very strong guy, and VJ Jones is definitely not the favourite going in to DEKA head-to-head against Ryan Atkins. But VJ turned something on. I don't know where he found the strength, but he absolutely smashed Atkins at the sled, and that allowed him to take DEKA.
Dude, my biceps
I'm so blown
are
up.
so
I got
blown
a big
out.
old bruise on my forearm from that thing.
Jesus.
I did it. I fucking did it, baby.
Yeah, I know you did. How do you
Let's
feel?
fucking go.
You ready?
Fucking ready,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Pick me up.
I got you. Let's go.
Let's
Oh, yeah.
go!
Oh, yeah. Well done.
I beat the favorite in this event. My good friend Hunter. There's still 2 other guys to go, so we'll see, but I think I set a time that's gonna stand.
Every single one of them left here saying that was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. They thought they were going to breeze through that, kind of like last year, and we threw a curveball at them this year.
Adjustment to like the anxiety of the unknown, the weather. You know, I don't think anybody wanted it for it to be cold and kind of drizzling on a day that we had a field on turf or grass.
DEKA Heavy. With the men, VJ beat Atkins by 9 seconds. What does this mean for Ryan going forward? In the women's division, Lindsay's decision to take the 5-minute penalty allowed her to take 4th, beating out Tara by just 1 second. We finished DEKA. The athletes were smashed, they were tired, they were recovering, but there was really no rest. We put them straight into the past challenge.
Welcome to the Air Force Special Warfare. No guts, no glory. Physical ability, stamina test. Beautiful weather, couldn't be better. I was actually out there setting the buoys and stuff, talking to Master Sergeant Neely about the conditions, and I got a little soft. I said, hey, what if we just adjust the standard or make this like a bonus round? And he looked at me real serious. He said, bullets don't care about weather. It's the fucking standard. So here we are. That's the standard, right? So there's a standard, we're here to hit it. And we've set it up to do that.
Not only do we have to, as Special Warfare Airmen, hold ourselves to a high, strict physical standard, we also have to exceed the sister service branches' physical standards so we can keep up or exceed their physical abilities. So one of the first things that Special Warfare Airmen do when they come in through the pipeline is perform the pass or the physical ability stamina test. So I'm excited to see what you guys got. Hopefully if the water's not too cold.
The test is made up of completing as many reps as possible in 2 minutes. Pull-ups, sit-ups and push-ups. You've got minimums to hit for each. And a 1.5-mile run has to be done in under 10 minutes and 20 seconds. And 2 25-metre underwater swims are followed by a 500-metre surface swim.
Weather's so bad we can't even get cameras out there. If you're out there in a kayak, it's even hard to keep that straight.
The clouds rolled in, the temperature dropped even more. I mean, it was basically as bad as weather gets. I mean, you can, snow, like full-on snow would have been much better than this because the wind was howling, the rain was coming in, the chill factor was, you know, absolutely atrocious. In DEKA, with the sled, for example, you could take a time penalty and skip that element of the competition, but in the past, it's completely different. Even if you fail a component of the test, you have to finish. Otherwise, you'll be DQ'd.
5, 4, 3, 2,
1.
The women started off the past first. They really set the bar high. The men were watching this level of competition, and I tell you what, I think it put in a little bit of extra pressure on the men.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin exercise.
I think I got 66. I think Corinna got over 70 though. Right?
Yeah, I think 71.
Nice job.
The athletes were obviously worried about the swim. I mean, it was underwater and the weather conditions were crazy. You know, that's a given. But actually, the component they were most worried about was the 1.5 mile run. Got to do it in under 10 minutes and 20 seconds. That's a pretty quick time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
And not everybody in the group, men and women, you know, were runners. They were endurance athletes, but they weren't all runners. And so those athletes that were more functional fitness athletes, for example, strength-based athletes, they were having a tough time.
Like later in the corner. Yeah.
If you need to go warm up in the vans, you can warm up. You've got 28 minutes to get ready, and then you'll be doing the 2x25 underwater. Let's go! Are we ready?
25-meter underwater swim took me a bit by surprise, and I think it'll be challenging, especially in wetsuits in the cold, not in a pool where you get to kick off the wall. So I'd say that's one of the other ones that I'm a little bit nervous about, but I'm also excited.
The athletic side was tough. From an operational side, it was equally tough. The weather was so bad, the wind was so high, we actually couldn't get boats in the water. We had to get people in the water, which means we had to figure out how to keep them warm. And very quickly, they were becoming hypothermic. At the same time, our camera crews were exposed to these conditions, and the cameras and all the gear were freezing up. So we had a major problem on our hands. We're trying to cover the event with our cameras and our teams and our sport teams in the water, and basically everything's going wrong.
In some ways, it was really cool to have the pass-fail component. It definitely adds a lot of stress, as you know, from the athlete side of things. But standards are standards, and I think that it was cool of Spartan to adhere to those and kind of make it a little cutthroat from the very first day and set the tone.
Go!
The fog rolled in, it was so thick that the cameras on the shoreline couldn't capture the action. So we sent in a team with GoPros into the water to cover the action. Normally the past swimming component of the challenge is done in a pool. It's a super contained environment. We decided to hold it in Big Bear Lake. It's completely on brand, it's the right thing to do, but I'll admit we didn't know that the weather would be quite so brutal at that point. When it came to the swim, the women, they were apprehensive. But not only did they complete it, they absolutely crushed it. Not one time, at not one moment did I ever see them kind of wavering. They put their head down and they attacked it and they crushed it.
Lauren, you're done? Woo! Got it, girl. Wow.
How was that?
It's cold.
How was that? Was it good? Fun?
Yeah, tons of fun.
It's cold. It was nice to hear the voices of the head like, you are almost there. So, yeah, that was so hard though. I swallowed so much water. But yeah, I don't recommend you guys doing this one.
The only 3 that passed were the podium finishers from Spartan Games Season 1.
What'd you get? Atkins is still going. 45 seconds. Remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time! 10-minute rest period.
That's a good pull.
Yeah,
what'd you get? Thank you.
Bro. Man, I feel like I got a nice flat path where I'm used to. It's going to be a good benefit for me. Just going to have to make it in the leagues with the big boys right here. Going to have to hit that time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
How did that go?
Not good.
Do you know how much you missed it by?
I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. I lost swimming now.
They said if you fail to run, you do essentially DQ from this event. But if you don't do the next 2 events, they DQ you from the whole thing.
Well, that's bullshit because fellas didn't do didn't do the sled, chose not to do the sled. So like,
is that the 5-minute penalty one?
Yeah. Dude. So you can't make up a rule and say, well, we're gonna DQ you now because you're not gonna do I'm not gonna swim for 0 points. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they said the mentality. This is I'm just messing.
Okay, well then the mentality means that you can't skip events to game it that way either. Like you can't allow the mentality of one to work, but not the mentality of everything else. Like there can't be a double standard.
I would say go talk to them.
I will. Let's go talk to him. Who do I talk to?
That'll be David.
You know, the weather was making things really, really tough on the athletes. And then on top of that, there were some frustrations about the rules of this particular event. For example, Tim came up to us and he said that he was pretty angry because during DEKA he knew that it was possible to take a penalty and skip a component of the challenge. In this case, he felt it was unfair that he couldn't skip the swim and the freezing conditions in the water and take some kind of time penalty. And it was at that point that we lent on our partners at Special Warfare to talk about minimum standards and why we uphold these.
Someone could skip an implement and take a penalty.
You can attempt it and just like fail yourself and get out, but you're gonna have to go through the process. Okay? Yeah. Thank you, mate.
This event is going to set them apart, which is why we call it the great equalizer. So it doesn't matter how big or fast or strong or that you are, as far as your physicality or physiology is concerned. We're about to see how mentally tough the individual athletes are. So I think some are going to do well, and I think some are not going to do so well.
I mean, I'm not overly excited, but everyone's got to do it, so.
No, no.
The men were interesting, you know, going into the swim, they were different to the women, you know. They had a lot of problems with the swim. They wanted to drop the swim. There was a lot of drama, to be honest. And that even surprised the Special Warfare guys. They're kind of like, what's going on here? Why can't they just get it done? And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the competition.
I think the swim for me was the most frustrating moment / event. It was really wavy, it was really choppy, and I kept looking up and seeing Ryan Kent, like, every time I looked up it seemed like he was not swimming flat, he was kind of swimming on an angle, which made it look like he was pushing off the ground, which he ended up getting a penalty for, but it was just kind of like, I was like, I know I'm a better swimmer than this, but I just couldn't swim in those conditions. I don't know if it was the cold or if it was the wind or just what it was, but I couldn't put it together.
I lost the swim last year, massively. I put my wetsuit on this time, it was way worse conditions, and I beat everybody. Like, those were like moments to me that I was like, I'm living my best life. I'm doing exactly what I came here for.
Hey, man. Oh, something else. Pretty good job.
How was that?
It's good. Cold.
Air Force Special Warfare, No Guts, No Glory, really lived up to its name today. It was brutal.
I thought both the events were not only great tests of the physical, but also of the kind of mindset of the athletes. And I also thought that they fit so well into the whole Spartan ethos and the whole Special Forces kind of mentality. Yeah, it was a great fit.
I was like, holy cow, this day took a lot out of me, emotionally and physically. I was proud of all of us after that event because it was clearly something way out of all of our comfort zones.
The leaderboards for No Guts, No Glory, the past. And the men, Kent took first place. He was given a 30-second penalty because he was making forward movement by pushing off the ground. Overall, at the end of day one, the top 3 in both the men's and women's divisions were the top 3 from Spartan Games Season 1. But that sure doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. You know, we had 2 brutal events on the first day, and we're thinking, how are these guys going to recover for another 3 days of competition? We couldn't have asked for a better start to Spartan Games. I mean, the athleticism, the competition, the passion, and the crazy weather. I mean, you put all these things together, nailed it. Is everyone thawed out overnight? How's everyone feeling?
There's no point in reserving yourself. You got to max out.
I love the obstacle types of courses.
I just got fucking bruises, and I almost can't feel it.
Tactical vest that you're all wearing. It's going to be your best friend for the first 2 miles. Just get ready.
Still got it. 3.